Fire Force. Now, it's been a minute since I've heard from this anime, but since their new season is coming out pretty soon, I decided we might as well do some flashbacks on what was going down in season 1 and 2. But we're going to be focusing on that boy Shinra. Now, the anime starts with this guy pretty much just combusting into flames. Pretty much in this anime, it's all about spontaneous human combustion, which has put their humanity on the verge of extinction for years. Also, random people having the ability to control these flames too. First scene, we then get to see Shinra, who's smiling like he's about to eat some fresh ass. We then get to see a scene of the Fire Force Squad, which pretty much are people who quote unquote save. You know what I'm saying? I don't call this saving, but they do something about the situation. We then get to see a scene of Shinra riding down to save this girl called Iris, who's his sister from the Holy Soul Temple. And of course, you ain't know, the boy's already shooting his shot from half court at the sister. But you know that shit was straight air. Moving on, we see a scene of the captain and the second in command questioning Shinra on why he smiles so much, in which he explains that he smiles a lot when he's nervous. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this probably has to be the most negative aura shit I've seen, because this does not look like the type of smile I want to see at all. We didn't get to see a scene of Maki's fine ass, you already know.
You already know.
Now, I won't even lie with you. We only in episode 1. And this scene was insane.
God fucking damn, bro. She bad as fuck. Easy, boy. You look like you about to eat her fucking ass.
We then see a scene of the first battle so far in the show. And pretty much they get their asses handed to them until Shinra is able to pull up and pretty much finish the job. Moving on, we get to see this lame ass delusional guy named Arthur. Pretty much thinks he's a knight, but also a king. But in all reality, it's clearly proven that the guy is not mentally okay. Arthur then starts shooting a shot thinking that he's cool and shit. Like, bro's looking at me like I'm gonna agree with him. You're not pulling shit. We then get to see that the second command wants Maki versus Shinra and Arthur, and pretty much they get their asses beaten crazy by Maki, who pretty much spent a majority of her years in the army, and now she's in the Fire Force Squad. So obviously she has some battle experience. Towards the end of the episode, we get to see a new mission that they're in, which pretty much is at a single family home, which ended pretty quick since the Inferno was surprisingly still conscious and didn't want to put up a fight, because obviously his daughter. We also got to see a scene of Joker's freaky ass licking a bottle of
Ashes, like,
God, weird ass. I don't know why the fuck he was doing that. Who then rigged the house of smoke, but it really didn't do much. The rookie games begin, in which we get introduced to Tamaki, in which Shinra starts geeking out. But of course, he was able to lock in real quick. Shinra goes about trying to find answers for what happened in the fire at his crib, just to find the nigga who was there that night. But Brody wasn't having it and just left the nigga hanging. Then moving on, the rookie games begin, in which our goat starts off flying in the sky and decides to fly all the way to the top. But then comes an issue in which he now has to deal with Joker, which is the first time they met. Now, I won't even lie, Joker, he is low-key kind of cold, but we ain't gonna gas bro up too much. Then we get to see that boy Shinra busting some moves trying to defeat him, though he started getting his ass beat, and Joker started making these weird-ass faces.
Shinra too.
This whole encounterment was kind of weird, but Joker only came to see Shinra to tell him that his brother is alive. Shinra wasn't having it, and Brody started cooking Joker until the scene cuts to Tamaki sitting on Arthur's face. I don't understand this. Of course, Arthur's ass is
delusional,
so he starts thinking Shinra is lying about all the shit he was talking about. Moving on, we then get to see
fine shit. Whew. Fine. You know what I'm saying?
The scene cuts to this guy in the courthouse who was sentenced not guilty even though he did the crime. Just like I tell everyone, God works in many different ways, because God striked his ass down with flames and turned that nigga into a demon dog. But apparently he's special since he's still in Inferno, but he's still somewhat conscious. Then we get to see the duos Arthur and Shinra in action, and I won't even lie when I say this, they were putting in that work. Then the second in command pulls up, starts shooting shit like he's King Vaughn. We then get to see this 1v1 between Shinra and the demon dog nigga, in which this fight is just an ore farming fest for Shinra for real. Especially this shit. Brody threw a car at him just for him to kick it up and slam it back down.
Like, who thinks of this?
But then Shinra starts having issues since the 5th Fire Force Squad pulled up, and they started acting like they own shit, even though they are not supposed to be there. She's lucky she's fine for real, but I ain't gonna lie, she started tweaking a little bit. But of course, our goat wasn't having it. Moving on, we then find out Fine Shit and Iris used to be at the same church until something happened. and Shawty started crying a little bit. Fine Shit apparently has a nick for doing weird ass researching on Infernos. She took the one that Shinra was fighting, but hey, you know what I'm saying?
We ain't gonna question it.
Moving on though, apparently Fine Shit lost ties with the church after the incident, hence the reason why she hates seeing sisters' clothes. Then the 8th decides to pull up and investigate the 5th. They're starting to peep in, they're doing some weird shit inside of there. And honestly, the 8th was controlling shit off the wake up, especially the 2nd in command. Nigga pulled up like prime phase doing all these trick shots. Then we get to see Fine Shit versus Shinra, in which that boy was also putting in that work. She kept trying to downplay, bro, but shit was not working. We didn't get Shawty's background, and yeah, it's sad, you know what I'm saying? She went from a church preacher to pretty much a female pimp with an OnlyFans. But at the end, Shinra was able to beat the brakes off of her so badly, she ended up falling in love with the nigga.
Like a delusional baby mama.
As the story continues, she ends up treating this nigga like a king. And we also get to see the 5th and 8th Fire Force squad start getting along, so it looks like they're gonna be communicating more in the future. We then find out Shinra and Arthur are going to be spies to investigate the Fire Force Squad 1 to see what's going on, because they know something's off there too. We didn't get to meet these 2 goofy balls who are the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd lieutenants. Shinra then asks us if he can beat up the old captain up. The nigga still wants answers from him, in which he accepts. Then cuts to the captain of the 1st versus Shinra, in which, bro, I ain't gonna lie, Shinra,
you got your ass beat. Let's be honest. Nigga got his ass beat.
Moving on though, Shinra starts seeing someone put a bug into someone's back, which caused him to turn back to find out that that person turned into Inferno. Nigga knew something was going on, so he had to chase. Just to find out, it leads him to the 2 lieutenants,
in which they now have a pretty good feeling on who it is.
just to later find out it's the star nigga who is doing this and turning people into Infernos, also killing kids. The nigga was weird. Apparently he thinks he's quote unquote saving them. He ends up also putting Tamaki up to this bullshit as well, and starts beating the shit out of her too. And at this point, bro is just tweaking at this point, like he's off fat or something, some type of substance. But then eventually,
You know what I'm saying?
the hero
The G.
had to pull up in fashion with
Alright.
they end up fighting, and I won't even lie, this shit was intense. Shinra was giving him the work, but the Mickey Mouse nigga was low-key pushing his weight. But mind you, that nigga is a lieutenant, so it shouldn't even be like this low-key. Tamaki ends up giving that boy Shinra some extra motivation, which made that nigga go crazy, and eventually he was defeated. Shinra then finds out that not only is his brother alive, but he's also in that group that is attacking people, in which is the evangelist, which encourages Shinra to find that nigga and bring him back to his senses. We then get to see Shinra
Versus.
show, and I won't even lie, this fight was insane. Shinra really had to tell Sho that I'm big bro, so listen up for real. Then shit started moving. They were moving so fast that not even the professor could follow them. Even though Shinra was getting his shit rocked at first, he was still able to keep getting up no matter how bad it was. On top of the fact that he was getting faster as the fight was progressing. We also see clips that show starting to get some flashbacks of his old lives through the Adola Burst link because of Shinra's feelings. Moving on though, we see that Shinra was moving so fast that the nigga turned into goddamn particles. Even though the fight ended with the evangelist still having a hold of Sho, and Shinra wasn't able to get up since he was pretty much beat up. Moving on though, Shinra was able to get better, then have a conversation with the captain from the 1st Fire Force squad, in which they were able to have a rematch, and Shinra wasted no time to beat this nigga up.
Now, okay, let's be honest.
He didn't beat him up, but hey, for a short period of time to get stronger, Shinra was pushing and pulling all that way he could. Once that was done, the captain finally spoke about exactly what happened 12 years ago. And pretty much in short summary, the evangelists pretty much are the ones that caused the fire, since they were the ones that awakened Sho's powers, which caused his mom to become a demon. On top of that, Shinra's powers awakened too, which is the reason why the captain lost his eye, because of him looking at the other world power. Alright, so that's pretty much going to be it for part 1. Part 2 should be coming out relatively soon, but so far it's looking crazy in the anime when it comes to season 1, and we already know it's going to get crazy for season 2. So make sure y'all leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I just want to say thank you for all the recent support, and hopefully we reach new heights. So yeah.